Welcome. Today I have an important question for you. Is happiness a choice? One of my pals, Dr. Suzanne Freeborn, shared this shot of a wall in her home in one of her posts. I love looking at this. It is such a positive. It is a good lead-in to the biggest and best tool that we transformation is exciting students need to add to our emotional toolboxes. I need to explain. When talking with folks, an infinite number of problems can come up.
It could be difficulties with relationships. Be it with relatives, friends, parents, lovers, or bosses. Problems could be spiritual or emotional battles with many roots to the causes.
It could be of significant benefit to go to each challenge and prescribe a remedy. Take every dispute and provide an antidote. But that would be both tedious and ineffective in the long term, as what would one do when fresh troubles arose? Hence, I am prescribing a general antidote to all problems, challenges, and troubles. It is making, as your number one goal and top priority, one thing: be happy. Hey, I can feel things through the computer screen, so I heard some of you sigh and think about heading elsewhere. Be happy sounds so pie in the sky, new age, or merely unreasonable. Nope. Be happy is not unreasonable at all. The opposite is true. I hope I can convince you that being happy is the only really reasonable goal in life. Everything else is way less important. Let me share some quotes from others on this matter. First, 2 quotes from Abe Lincoln.
Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Every man's happiness is his own responsibility.
How many happy people do you meet as you travel in this world? Are you one of them? Let us discuss this in detail. I find it interesting that when you ask people what their goals are, very few mention being happy as a top priority.
Yeah, I would be happy if I didn't have a bunch of abusive dolts to deal with all the time. If I could find a good job and make decent money, then I could be happy.
In other words, the formula for many is this one. I could be happy if. Fill in the blank.
My family hadn't abused me. My wife was more understanding. People would quit lying to me all the time.
The world was more peaceful. Society wasn't moving so quickly. I had finished college. I hadn't given up the best job I had for no reason. My husband would have supported my dreams. I could lose some weight. If I ever got a single break. My kids appreciated all I had done for them.
Yeah, I could be happy if.
I had become a professional of some sort. People would recognize my talents and give me a chance. My dog didn't shed so much. My daughter wasn't in the county jail again.
We could all sit around and add to this list that has no ending. I could make a list that would take up volumes of sheets. They all have a basic flaw, which is that happiness is something you find by searching or comes from external objects of pleasure or is in the hands of others. Wrong. Wrong.
I have had debates with people who vehemently disagree with the true statement that happiness is a choice and provide arguments to counter it. They view happiness as gathering up articles of things, and when you have enough of them, they will make you happy. It is like happiness is this gigantic piece of jewelry that will become whole when enough trinkets are added to the chain.
If that were the case, no millionaire would ever take his own life. Rich people would be constantly happy, as would all their family members. Others claim how one looks leads to happiness. But do all beautiful women and handsome men feel good about themselves? Are they happy? Suggesting happiness has nothing to do with external objects, but is an inner feeling, and an attainable choice, makes some people uncomfortable.
Make me happy is a fascinating term. Not be happy, but make me happy, like you are a piece of clay that can be molded somehow.
Take a peek at this list. It is an odd way to think, but also common.
Many people will see through this argument and agree that material goods may provide momentary pleasure but not happiness. Pleasure is not happiness. Pleasure is fleeting. If you find a serving of delicious cheesecake to be pleasurable, will you find 8 slices in a row to be 8 times the original pleasure? Why not?
If you listen to your favorite new music and it is pleasing, how about if you played it repeatedly for 3 days straight? Would it still give you pleasure? Okay, most will give in on the material goods makes me happy debate. Rather, they may want to attach themselves to the theory that others make them happy by their actions and treatment of them.
Well, then the reverse must also be true. That is, people can make one angry, make one frustrated, make one feel worthless, make one unhappy. Okay, I'll play. I treat you wonderfully. You really like it. According to the theory, I have made you happy. Then I turn on you and get critical and nasty, and have now made you unhappy. You had no choice, one way or another. So, if that is true, then I want you to howl like a dog. What? I want you to howl like a dog. If I have control over you, then I must have complete control, so howl like a dog. Then roll over, and here, go fetch this stick. You read such a thing and think it is absurd. Correct. You are getting it. I don't have control over you, nor does anyone other than a police officer or an evildoer holding a gun to your head. That is an extreme example of your life being threatened. But most daily decisions are not so limiting.
You have numerous ways to react to people, events, and circumstances. When you really believe it, and transform your thinking, your inner world will change into a calmer, more peaceful, pleasant place. Next up on our journey today is a discussion on anger, irritation, and getting royally ticked off to the point where you want to scream.
Hey you! Hey! Hey you! Hey you! Hey!
He makes me mad. I have heard that thousands of times. Again, let's analyze that common statement. How did he make you mad?
Well, he said I was lazy, extremely incompetent, and stupid. Wouldn't that make you mad, Mr. Know-It-All?
Not necessarily. I have a near infinite number of options from which to choose in reacting to such a statement. I could laugh wildly. I could leave the area. I could return the insults. I could start crying. I could punch him in the face. I could accuse him of making a joke. I could accept the statement as true and thank him. I could plot future revenge. I could collapse on the floor either crying, laughing, or play dead. I could play along and get in a wild argument in public with him. I could mirror back his words. Calmly with no emotion. I could smile and say nothing. I could tell him he had the wrong person. I could put my hand underneath my armpit and make farting noises. I could hire a hitman. Granted, I am having some fun with this. Would I find such a statement troubling? Perhaps, but that depends on several variables. If I had a bunch of money and was not dependent on his opinion, then I could simply walk away. I could quit on the spot if he were my boss because I don't want to be around toxic, unhappy people who use such words. I am in control of how I react to things, words, deeds, and emotions in my life. And so are you. Nobody can make you do one damn thing in the normal course of daily life. In the example, I know the nasty statement is not true. It is not a fact, but one person's opinion. Big deal would be the healthiest response. There is no requirement that I have to react in a certain way to abuse or trouble. I am not obligated to meet conflict with conflict. I can't be pushed into a fight without choosing to do so. There is not a manual on how to handle such things properly. But the fact remains. Nobody can make you do anything against your will. Well, if I killed him on the spot, then there would be consequences I wouldn't enjoy, but he didn't make me get violent. If you have given others permission to make you feel terrible about yourself, it is because you allowed it. Good day to you. See you at part 2.